Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli with Little Blue, and we are, of course, continuing on with season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now we're up to chapter 14, and also being episode 6, and of course being the tragedy. And
title made me nervous when I saw it.
And this was even directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yes.
Now, everybody would know him. Like, you don't know him that much, but I do. Like, he directed movies like Sin City, and he directed those Spy Kids movies and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and the upcoming sequel or spin-off, We Can Be Heroes, that stars Pedro Pascal, so...
Yes.
Can we be heroes? That's what I meant.
It's a Netflix.
Netflix, correct.
Netflix release.
What do we have to say about this? Get ready for what Little Blue has to say about
but we'll
this
just leave
episode.
it. Just leave it.
They've already seen this, so you know.
They've seen it, so but I'll say this: the tragedy. Okay, in my mind,
here he goes.
As I see the title, I'm saying, okay, the tragedy doesn't mean that Mando's going to be killed off.
No, of course not.
Grogu's not going to be killed off.
No.
Because both of those are potentially multi-billion-dollar properties for Disney. So let's face it.
Right.
We are not going to see either of them get axed anytime soon. So, what's left? What's left that could be tragic? Well, little did we know.
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Well, of course, we're going to go through the episodes, not get to it yet. But... they do arrive on the planet that Ahsoka told them to go to.
Yes, it was a vision stone, if you will, at the top of this mountain. One of the coolest shots ever.
Yeah,
is when he is circling, and he's in the Razor Crest, and he is circling the mountaintop and banking.
Yeah,
and he's banking it, and he's looking out the cockpit window as he's banking it. And the kid is even, doing this, and you can see it as he's banking. You can see that it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. I was blown away, and I remember even saying, "Oh my God, that is the coolest shot ever!" Because he's flying and he's looking off and he's looking down and he's banking it, and you can see those. You can see that seeing stone. You can see those rock formation around it, and he says that's the place. And then he says. There's no place to land, so from here we're going to have to go windows down. And then you see him flying, using the Rising Phoenix, flying the kid to the mountaintop.
Right.
Sets him down, says, okay, do your thing, thinking it's going to be just that quick. Took a little while, but he finally, and then he turns around. Mando hears a noise.
Oh, yeah.
He hears a ship. He turns around. And what do we see?
Yep.
Slave 1.
Yes.
Here comes Boba Fett.
What else would it be? It's the Slave 1.
Nobody else is going to be flying that ship. At first when he reacted, I thought he knew who it was. I thought he knew that ship because he literally said, "Kid, we got to get out of here now." Because his reaction was that, oh my God, it's Boba Fett. It's Slave 1. He's coming after us. And obviously, that's not how it was. He was just, he saw it as a ship coming in, and he knew it was potential danger.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, by this time, the kid is in the trance. There's a force field, literal force field around him, and this rock is glowing.
He's doing something.
He's telecommunicating. He's using mental telepathy, reaching out across the cosmos, whatever.
Right.
And I'm sure somebody heard it. I'm sure we'll find out in a coming episode. But what happens is Mando uses his sensors that he has in his helmet.
Yeah.
That picks up heat signatures, and he picks up the heat signature, and you can clearly see walking out of the back of Slave 1 in a robe is Boba Fett.
Yes.
And we don't see, however.
Well, no, like the interaction between Bubba and Din Djarin for the first time,
Exactly, and that was just classic.
Yes. And the lines that you're forgetting, the lines that Boba Fett says, I'm a simple man making my way through the galaxy,
Yeah.
A callback to Django, who actually, because I realized Django said it a bit differently. He didn't say galaxy, he said universe.
Right.
And yet, and the other words that Boba says, like my father before me.
Yeah,
Luke said that too.
But
when when Luke says, I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
Right. But what we do find out that Boba Fett, both Boba Fett and Jango Fett, his father, are Mandalorian.
Yeah.
We've been discussing this throughout the whole season, saying, okay, is he Mandalorian?
I think even before season 2 or something.
Jango Fett fought in the Mandalorian Civil Wars, so that makes him a Mandalorian. And Boba Fett, his son, absolutely same bloodline. He's Mandalorian as well.
Yeah, but they're also bounty hunters. So
they are bounty hunters.
Yeah, it's even established. Yeah, but very well established in the movies as well.
But the random element we're not expecting is because Boba Fett, Mando basically says, "What's to stop me from dropping you right here?" And he says, "Because I've got a gun up there trained on the child."
Yes,
and it's Fennec Shan, whing we thought was dead from the
Gunslinger, yes.
From season 1. But if you recall at the end
chapter 6 / episode 6.
So if you get to the end of that, Fennec Shan is lying there, presumed dead, and you hear what sounds like spurs.
Spurs, yeah.
And you see a figure coming up, but you can't tell who it is because it's too dark. Well, you know something's coming because that's in the previews, the recap going into the next. You got to watch these recaps going into the new episodes because
they're very important.
When you see someone there, you know they're going to be in this episode.
Oh, yes.
So as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, she's in this. She's alive. Boba Fett saved her. But she wasn't exactly, probably wasn't an easy fix because now she has bionics. She's mechanical. Her middle section is like mechanical now.
Oh yeah.
So
she was shot somewhere there.
Yeah, exactly. So he's fixed her up. She's in his debt. Boba Fett wants his armor.
Yes.
And it's a pretty good trade-off because he basically what happens is this is the part that's really difficult for me. They go through. Well, let me get to that because I'm leaving out a big part here.
Well, I mean, it's like I thought we can't forget about talking about the fight between Bobo and Finny. Is that right? Am I saying her name right? Or
Fennec Shan.
Fennec Shan. Them and against the stormtroopers.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
The stormtroopers come in.
Yeah.
2 troop ships come in. One and
I think it's the same ones. I think from Force Awakens.
Yeah, they kill it. But oh my gosh,
they get their butts kicked by the 2 bounty hunters.
Boba Fett doesn't need a gun. He's using a Tusken Raider gaffy stick, and absolutely beats the crap out of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean he's cracking skulls seriously with this thing, killing these stormtroopers. Fennec Shan, she knocks off her fair share. Meanwhile, Mando has gone back. He's unconscious from where he's tried to get the kid, and the force field pushes him back. He's knocked out. He finally gets into the fight.
Right.
And so all 3 of them are fighting. And with the 3 of them fighting, they take out the stormtroopers pretty handily.
Yeah.
But then,
not to mention Bobo, he gets his armor back.
He gets his armor back.
Yeah, because he even sees the door to the Razor Crest is open,
and he goes after it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you see is he comes out. He's in the armor.
He's in his armor.
He's in his armor, and it's like, Boba Fett lives, and you see Boba Fett.
All hail Boba Fett. That's what you do.
You see Boba Fett go. He sees these ships, these whatever's left of the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They retreat. You see the troop carriers taking off.
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
For the first time, we see it on screen. He uses the missile from the rocket.
He uses the missile. He uses the missile
from the jetpack,
and he knocks one of them out of the sky. It falls, hits the other one. Both of them blow up.
Yeah.
And then Mando says, nice shooting, and he says, I was aiming for the other one.
What and what? What he meant by that?
Well, he just meant that he took out both of them, but he was aiming for one. He didn't expect to get 2 of them.
But it happened.
But it happened.
Good thing too.
So we're thinking,
not to mention that. Okay, this is the first time we see Boba Fett actually do that, like launch a missile from his jetpack.
Exactly.
Now we saw his father do that in Attack of the Clones.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So
what happens
in the docking bay of Camino?
Right. So what happens then ultimately is You think everything's happy now, everything's great.
Yeah.
Because they've guaranteed the safety of the child. You know they're going to be teaming up with Mando. We just don't know to what extent until the next thing happens.
Well, it's like this. Those stormtrooper ships, what are they called again? Like cargo ships or whatever,
Troop carriers.
Yeah, the troop carriers. Like, okay, well, obviously they couldn't have just been out in space by themselves or anything, or make their way to the planet,
No, they came from
some
Star Destroyers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
because if you
some Star Destroyer would be somewhere nearby the planet.
When you see the Force Awakens at the very opening, they are emerging from Star Destroyers.
Something like that, yeah.
So,
but this time we do see a Star Destroyer, but it's very close. It's in the planet's orbit.
Yeah, it's in the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere. That's what I meant.
So the next thing you see,
here it comes.
You see
a
bolt.
The biggest thing.
You see a bolt. You hear it. You see a bolt come through the sky, and it's a blaster fire from a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, the images we've got pulled up, on the green screen. Yes, but I've also got the image right here behind us.
Obliterated. When I say
practically destroyed.
There is no practically to it.
Well,
it was
obliterated.
Well,
pretty much,
The only thing that was left was a few fragments of metal, and of course
the staff, the
Beskar steel
that Din Djarin
spear.
Yeah, the spear, but not to mention the little ball that Grogu liked to play with.
Yeah, that was really a touching moment. I mean, that was a kind of a tearjerker moment when he finds that ball and he sticks it in his papouch because he's going to give it to the kid.
It's like, oh great, the ball is its own character,
Yeah. So,
but not to mention we get to see like these cool looking like Imperial like droids or something,
Right. So Mando says to Fennec Shan and Boba Fett, our deal's done, and Boba Fett says, "Not quite."
You're forgetting Grogu's captured.
Grogu is captured by black troopers that are droids.
Yeah, they're Moff Gideon's.
They're Moff Gideon's black troopers, and they fly and they fly and they take and just as it is his mental this thing he was doing where he was reaching out mentally, using telepathic waves, force waves, whatever. When that ends, he falls asleep as he always does. Right. Next thing you see the black troopers coming in. They swoop down. They take him.
If only he had still
Mando's
had that,
trying to get to him, but he can't.
If only Grogu still had that like force shield or something.
Right. Boba Fett jumps in Slave One, goes after him. He's ready to shoot him out of the sky. Mando looks up, he sees the child with him, and he says, no. He says the child might be harmed.
Like, don't take the risk.
Somebody said, I read on a site that somebody said, why didn't Mando fly after him? Well, he couldn't fly after him because he would have risked the child's life if he'd done that.
Yeah.
He couldn't take that risk. So he knew Moff Gideon wanted the child, and he knew the child would be protected as long as they let it get captured, which they did. So Boba Fett comes back, tells Mando that the deal's not quite done.
Right.
But Mando's like, our deal's done, and Boba Fett's not quite.
Right.
We are going to help you get the child back. Mm-hmm. So now they have teamed up. They board Slave One. They fly back to Navarro.
You're forgetting because like Boba, he mentions because he sees the Star Destroyer and like the Empire's back.
Yeah, which is like, where you been, buddy? I guess he's been on Tatooine.
Yeah.
So
he missed out on a bit of much.
So they're going after the child.
And the Slave One, you heard the sound effects of Slave One, right?
Right.
Oh,
right.
They're the best.
They're absolutely the best.
It's so good to hear the sounds of the Slave One again.
So they board Slave One
when it flies,
right.
And
so they board Slave One. They fly back to Navarro, back to Marshal Cara Dune.
Right.
And now Mando is asking her to help him spring a prisoner.
Yeah.
A prisoner out of the New Republic prison. That's a character from, what is it, Episode 7?
I think so. Yeah.
Episode 7,
Chapter 7/Episode 7.
Yeah, one of the bad guys that Mando teamed up with to spring another prisoner on a New Republic guard ship.
Yeah, I feel if we're gonna see him, we're gonna probably see the others as well, I guess, or who knows? Like,
boy, yeah, that's going to be the antagonist. That's going to be unstable element added to that mix for
Yeah.
sure. Because Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, they're totally on board. They saw what it did to Mando to lose the child and to lose his ship. So Boba Fett's putting himself in that position. What if I lost Slave One? How would I feel? And Fennec Shand
Exactly.
you see them both see it when he's going through what's left of it, which is nothing, and pulls out the two pieces the only thing that's left. Not even his pulse rifle.
Yeah.
And I love that pulse rifle, man. He's got to get another one. I'm sorry. He's got to find another one. And he will. He will.
Yeah, and even because, Din Djarin, of course, he mentions to Kara that, they took the child,
Yeah, and you see the
see the look on her face.
You see the look on her face. She's like, okay, I'm on board then.
Yeah.
She loves the kid. She wants to protect the kid.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling she's going to be in this next episode.
Of course, she'd have to. So
So
probably,
we're looking forward.
maybe not only her, but Grief Carcass as well.
Grief Kargas, I'm sure he will probably be in it as well.
He probably will because he loves that child too. So
This is probably because of everything that happened, the gravity of everything that happened. This is probably the best episode of all seasons. Still not my favorite.
well, it's not just that. Like the other episodes from Chapter 13,
Yes,
and I think say Chapter 11 as well was another good one too.
There were a lot of Star Wars fans very happy with this episode.
Oh yeah, this episode has been on fire.
So before we end, my prediction.
Not to mention that at the end of it, because we see Moff Gideon and the child and Grogu,
Mm-hmm.
he's like taking out the stormtroopers, choking them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like Moff Gideon, he's getting like he knows how to deal with Grogu, like he's being kind to him and such, And
Exactly.
he whips out the darksaber once again.
Whips out the darksaber.
Yeah.
And the kid's getting ready to touch it. And he's like,
Yeah, see, he was making sure he wouldn't touch it,
yeah. He says, you might get your eye put out. He says, you're not ready for one of these yet.
Yeah, even one of the stormtroopers stuns him,
And stuns him, and he's in
Put
shackles.
they put little what is it again?
Shackles.
Shackles, right. Like another word for handcuffs, I guess.
Yeah.
The Star Wars version of handcuffs.
Yeah.
I even read an article that some people are saying that this could lead up to, I guess, to the next two episodes. Like Mando's, I guess Din Djarin's building a group or something,
Yeah, he's
saying it could be like, and I've read this like an article or whatever that some people say it could be like their version of the Avengers or something.
Well,
that's what I don't really remember that much, but that's the best I can describe of what I read.
Well, here's my prediction. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Yes.
This is what's going to happen.
What? We've only got two left.
Boba Fett has come back.
There are two left.
This is either going to I think this will happen at the end of season 2. The very end of season 2.
And you guys let us know what Lil Blue's about to say. You guys let us know too what you think.
Boba Fett is going to give his life to save the child. In his dying breath, he is going to look at Mando and say, "Take my ship." And Slave One will become the Mandalorian and Grogu's ship going forward in the Mandalorian series. Mark my words, it's going to happen.
We don't really know that for sure. Nothing's even been mentioned.
Nope, but
I think
guarantee you that's what's going to happen.
You're probably, not
that
just,
ship, Slave One, is so well known.
Somebody mentioned that on Facebook, and that got you thinking too.
Yeah, it got me. Somebody predicted it, and I said, "That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant."
Right.
So I think that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
So great episode.
Mark,
2 thumbs way up.
You're about to say mark your words, or
mark my words. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my prediction.
Yes. But with that said, anything else to say on the tragedy? Any last words? What we thought of it? Yeah.
Excellent episode. 2 thumbs way up. 10 stars, 5 stars, whatever you want to call it.
And Robert Rodriguez
did a fantastic job.
He did a fantastic job in directing this episode as well. Not to mention, because remember, I think he posted this on his Instagram or something. He took a selfie during the behind the scenes with Grogu.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That didn't spoil anything. He was just simply taking a selfie with Grogu in the Razor Crest. So
exactly,
stuff like that is no big deal. So what they do. So
right.
But with that being said, the chapter 16.
Chapter 15 is next.
No, chapter 15 was. Wait a minute.
We've got 2 more chapters, 15 and 16.
Okay, my mistake. Chapter 14 is chapter 14.
Yes, chapter 14, the tragedy. So we'll see what chapter 15 holds in store.
And then 16.
Yeah,
so chapter 14 / episode 6, it was, if not one of the best episodes. I mean, it's not just that. I mentioned the other two I mentioned.
Exactly.
Chapter 13 and I think chapter 11 because that one was really good too. So Bo-Katan, etc. And you guys let us know what you think of the tragedy. Oh, I'm sure like maybe on this like some of you will we'll be expecting a couple comments on what they thought of it.
Oh, I'm sure
because because of this episode. So
Yeah.
But 2 thumbs up. We give it 10 out of 10. It's great.
Great flick.
And again, there's only 2 left. Can you believe that?
Only 2 left this season.
Only 2 left.
And then we got another dry run of about 8 months before the next season.
But it'll be here once we know it. So.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it.
Yep. It just feels like, say, yesterday we had season 1, and now we've been having season 2.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So, with that being said, we hope you enjoyed our review of chapter 14. Right. God. Chapter 14 / episode 6, The Tragedy. We are looking forward to the last 2 episodes. It's hard to tell what's going to happen next. You guys let us know what you think of the tragedy. We hope you enjoyed our review of the tragedy. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and of course, continuing on with The Mandalorian. Yet, as I said, there's only 2 left. Can't wait. So with that said, we hope you enjoyed our review of the tragedy, and we'll see you guys in the next video / review video. Take care. Peace out. Any last words?
This is the way.
This is the way, and for me, we have spoken.